Each and every day, enjoy the Simple Six menu at Subway, an entire made-for-you meal featuring one of 6 6-inch sandwiches like the Italian BMT or Black Forest ham, with any bag of chips and a 21-ounce drink, all for only $6. Subway. Eat fresh.
Before we get started in today's show, I want to tell you about Stamps.com, longtime sponsor of the BS Report. It's quick, it's convenient. More importantly, it's really, really easy to use. You do not have to go to the post office anymore. You can just stay home. Make your own office, your personal post office. You can avoid lines. You can avoid just standing there as somebody mails some package, some 79-year-old lady. Who needs that? Make your own mailing and shipping from your house. Stamps.com. Put in the top right of the site, BS. You'll get a deal and a scale and a whole bunch of other things. It's a great product. You can buy and print official U.S. postage using your computer and printer. Stamps.com will give you a digital scale. It will automatically calculate the exact postage for any letter, any package. They'll even help you choose the best class of mail. Wow. Why go to the post office? Just give it to the postman. Stamps.com. Check it out.
The BS Report is a free-flowing conversation that occasionally touches on mature subjects. The BS Report. The BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Welcome to the BS Report, taping this on a Monday morning, Southern California, a little chilly as usual. I would like to thank Podcast Joe, a.k.a. Joe Fuentes, for going into work and taping podcasts for us today. Our office is actually closed in Grantland, but Joe is the hardest working man in show business. Thank you, Joe. On the line right now, cousin Sal. Pretty boring. Usually in week 17, there's 75,000 different scenarios, and we're confused. And I feel like this is kind of the most basic week 17 we've had in a while. Are you disappointed?
I am a little disappointed. I said, you know what, I'm gonna stay up till 2 a.m. and figure out all these playoff possibilities, but there's not much really. It's just there might be a difference between who's a 5 and who's a 6 seed for the wild cards, which I can't really get into technicalities too much. But yeah, you got that NFC South game.
And AFC North.
And the AFC North, and that's kind of it. I mean, the NFC South, that's the only team that's not in the playoffs, right? That's the only slot open.
Right. So. Well, so Cincy, we're taping this on Monday morning tonight. Right. Cincy plays Denver. Mm-hmm. Cincy could lose to Denver at home and then lose to Pittsburgh in week 17, and they're out of the playoffs.
Yeah, well, they actually could still win, even if it could still be in if they lost both with a San Diego and Baltimore loss, but that's probably not going to happen. So. Because
Baltimore could lose. Baltimore looked like crap yesterday. All right, so here's how the playoffs probably look right now for those of you driving in a car right now to your Aunt Becky's house or wherever you're going. Pats and Broncos are the 1 and 2 seeds.
Right.
Pats clinch home field if they win, if they beat Buffalo. Mm-hmm. Seattle clinches the home field for the entire playoffs if they beat the Rams, which is a sneaky, kind of not as easy of a game as it looks kind of game, which we'll get to. The second seed is going to be either Green Bay or Detroit, whoever wins that game.
Yes, most likely, yeah.
Our first-round matchups are going to be, if San Diego wins, San Diego at the loser of Pitt-Cincy. Or San Diego at the winner of Pitt-Cincy, whoever wins the title. Right. If San Diego loses, then that's probably Baltimore. If Baltimore loses, then it gets complicated. So most likely...
I don't want to derail this, but San Diego's the 6th seed for sure?
Not for sure. They have to beat the Chiefs.
So if they beat the Chiefs, the Colts are the 3 seed, right, when they go against the Colts?
No, I think Pitt is the 3 seed because Pitt beat Indy.
Here we go. I know. So, okay, you might be right. I should have looked at this.
I think the most likely scenario, first round, is San Diego at Pittsburgh, and then like Baltimore, Cincy, like who the hell knows? And somebody at Indy.
I knew we'd give up on it really quick.
I know.
Well, here's what I'm asking you: how terrified are you of Pittsburgh coming to New England in your first playoff game? I think that's the worst matchup for you.
I wrote about it on Friday.
Right.
It's my scariest. It's the scariest non-Denver team because the one thing they're bad at is the one thing we're not good at is stopping deep passes. Mm-hmm. And
they get to the quarterback and they run the ball and they love the cold weather.
I don't like big play teams, and the teams you don't want to go against in the playoffs are the teams that can strike and have 72-yard touchdown passes and 45-yard runs. Those are the teams you don't want to play when you're favored by 9. Mm-hmm. Plus, our offensive line looked horrible yesterday, and I've done a 180 on this Pats thing. I'm now concerned. I was overconfident, and now I'm underconfident. We couldn't block yesterday.
It would have been a huge, huge loss. Huge, the angriest loss you would have had, right? All that work for a stupid Jets, and they get screwed by 2 field goals in both games.
I'm sitting there, for the first quarter, I'm like, we're doing the Milton Berle, just pulling out enough to win thing. Mm-hmm. And then about midway through the second quarter, I think every Pats fan came to the same realization, oh, my God, we can't block. We're not blocking anyone. This is like September. September has come back. We can't. Literally, Brady had no time to throw or do anything. They really missed Edelman too.
Edelman, that's a big thing. He's not getting open in the slot. He's hurt and he can't play. That's huge.
And that was the first time we've seen a team just say, we're taking out Gronkowski. You're not throwing it to him.
Right.
So pick wherever else you want to go, but he's not getting the ball today.
Rex Ryan would have ownership in this Jets team if he can get his team up for any other game as he does with the Patriots. It's really something else.
Yeah, I was arguing about this with a couple of Pats fans today on email. I think Rex is a good coach.
Yeah.
Some people don't think he's a good coach, but his quarterbacks have been Mark Sanchez and Geno Smith.
Right.
That's all he's had since he's been on the Jets. He went to 2 championship games with Mark Sanchez. That team has never had an elite playmaker or quarterback during the entire time he's been there.
No, right. And I don't think he's the kind of guy. There are some guys who get the most out of their quarterback, and he's probably not it. And that's not to say he's a bad coach. So he's probably better at every other facet of coaching than a lot of these guys out there. But if you bring in a good guy, Josh McDaniels or something like that, Shanahan, someone who could deal with quarterbacks, you might be looking at a different story.
Yeah, could if you switch places with him and Pete Carroll, would the Seahawks be worse? I doubt it. In the NFC, just quickly, it's looking like Zona. This one's definite. Zona is going to go to Atlanta or Carolina in round 1.
Right.
That's happening.
Yep.
And then from everything I can tell, it's either the loser of Green Bay Detroit goes to Dallas.
I think that's it. Yeah.
And I know who you'd rather play.
Well, Detroit, you're going to say?
You'd rather play Aaron Rodgers and the Packers than Matt Stafford?
The weird thing is, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it matters, but the winner plays the other team anyway, right? So, if Detroit comes to Dallas and Dallas wins that game, then Dallas is going to have to play the 2 seed, which is going to be Green Bay. Or if Green Bay goes to Dallas, so we're going to get them both either way, and then probably the Seahawks. So, but
you have an Ice Bowl rematch situation possible in round 2.
That could be fun. I'm super pumped. I'm going to be super obnoxious this podcast. I'm sorry. I'm going to be at the Donald Trump, Simon Cowell level of obnoxicity, because if that's even a word, because the Cowboys won. I'm undefeated in my Sports Center picks the last 5 weeks. I won the fantasy title. Bring it. I'm going to brag. I know it's going to come to a crashing halt, but you know what? As a guy who didn't talk about a no-hitter for 30 years and the Mets didn't get one forever, that stuff doesn't work. So I'm going to brag and let's see where it takes us.
See, you on Sports Center, you were 13-0-2 the last 5 weeks?
The last 5 weeks.
That's pretty impressive.
It should be getting a little more buzz, I think. At least don't cut 40 seconds of my analysis out every week. One of the two, I'll take.
13-0-2. Teach, the record speaks for itself, Teach.
That's right.
Nobody circles the wagons like Cousin Sal.
I'm getting people tweeting me betting slips where they won $9,000, $7,000.
Oh, yeah. This is the greatest year of your life.
Yes. Unbelievable.
Dallas is doing well.
We're on the roll. Let me talk about Tony Romo. Last week we talked about everyone except Tony Romo in this MVP race.
Yeah.
32 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, 31-5 after week 1. 79% passing, 10 touchdowns, no interceptions in the last 3. These December games that he always loses. Best completion percentage, 70.3 in the league. Leads the league in touchdown percentage and first down percentage. I don't even know what that is. He's got an 82.3 QBR, which is number one. 84.4 in the fourth quarter where games are close. Rodgers is 69 and Manning 60. Come on, man. Put him in the talk. Let's do it.
No.
Why not?
Really ridiculous.
Oh, what is ridiculous? What's ridiculous? I want to hear.
We didn't even consider him in the MVP thing until last week. He wasn't even
stupid.
a candidate. Now all of a sudden he's a leading contender. It's
yeah,
ridiculous.
because we have to bow to. Well, let me ask you something. If Aaron Rodgers is a 6th seed, why should he get the MVP? If he loses in Green Bay, why should he get it?
The problem with your team is I don't know who the MVP is. That's why Romo isn't the MVP, because you could make the same case for DeMarco Murray.
I think after watching yesterday's game, you could see that Romo has to throw down the field. He has to do all these things that Brady doesn't do. Murray, he's great. Been great for us. He's a workhorse. You could switch him out. I'm telling you.
Okay.
Tony Romo, MVP.
I will say the Rodgers. Everybody just throwing Rodgers in doesn't make a ton of sense to me. That I first of all, I don't think he should be the favorite. But so that team yesterday put up a whopping 20 points in Tampa.
Yeah.
They had 13 points against the Bills. They had 16 points against the Seahawks. They had 7 points against the Lions. In his stats, he threw 10 touchdowns with no picks in the 2 Bears games, right?
Right.
They put up 93 points in the 2 Bears games.
Yeah, if you take those out, yeah.
Take those out, and it's like, all right, well, they kicked the Eagles' ass once. They kicked the Vikings' ass on a Thursday. But they really could have been 3-5 on the road if that miracle catch in the Miami, the miracle fourth down play doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And then I don't know.
I'm terrified to play them in the playoffs, but he didn't once tell his fans to relax. Tony Romo didn't. He didn't once. Hasn't once been seen on TV firing off F-bombs. Hasn't once blown a kiss to his wife on national television. Didn't once pose with Bieber this year. Put Tony Romo in that talk. That's all I want to say.
The reality is, I think Rodgers, Brady, Romo, and Russell Wilson are all. I don't think one stands out from the other.
All right. All right. I'll take that.
If you could, you could argue Russell Wilson has done the most with the least.
Sure.
Who the hell's on that team?
No, I know.
He's thrown at tight ends I've never heard of. And he's been under pressure. Like I was at Pro Football Focus last night looking at like pressure stats and stuff. Mm-hmm. Wilson's been like under siege this whole season. Like he has the worst offensive line out of those 4 quarterbacks by far, but I think JJ Watt's the MVP.
Well, I
really felt like I was leaning that way, and then I watched yesterday's game, and they were just like double and triple teaming him, and it opened up the entire defense to just go after Joe Flacco. And then finally, he ended up getting a couple of his, and he's just relentless. I've never seen. You'd have to go back to like Lawrence Taylor or like Reggie White for a couple of those years. I've never seen a front 4 guy have a day-to-day impact like this guy. Yeah,
and if you do your above replacement, what's the thing? Like if you just put an average guy in there, you wouldn't do. No, it certainly would not be triple teaming him.
That team's 3-13.
Yeah, it changed the game. It changed how you play against him.
Yeah, the fact that they even have a chance to make the playoffs with what's happened to their quarterbacks this year. Mm-hmm. Ryan Fitzpatrick, they bench Fitzpatrick. They bring in Ryan Mallett, who gets hurt. They have to go back to Fitzpatrick. He breaks his leg. They go in this game yesterday with freaking Case Keenum, who wasn't even on the team a week ago.
Right.
And they kicked the hell out of Baltimore, and it was all because of their defense.
He needs to learn how to pass. That's it. That's the problem.
He was amazing. Yeah, I mean, he's the guy you're going to remember first from the regular season, which should matter with the MVP thing.
I don't mind if he wins it. I don't think Aaron Rodgers should be 1-7 to win the MVP right now.
Aaron Rodgers, I don't get that. To me, that's like a media, we just like Aaron Rodgers, let's give him the MVP.
Yeah, right.
And also, he has, I would say he has the most weapons out of those 4 QBs.
It's hard to say because he has made some of these guys a household name, but we may not otherwise hear from them.
I guess Jordy Nelson and Randall Cobb, I would put like those are 2 of the top 12.
Right. Yeah.
Romo has Dez. Brady has Gronk.
I know this is stupid because now Dallas is going to go to Green Bay and lose by 30 after all this talk, and your Patriots will struggle with them in the Super Bowl or whatever. But it is what it is. We're looking at numbers.
All right, let's go through week 17. We do pretty well. We actually got a taste of a week 17 game last week. Or yesterday, I should say. And I picked the Colts in that game. I didn't realize they had clinched everything, which is I deserve to lose that pick. But so a couple people emailed me on Friday saying, you realize like the Colts, like this will be a mail-in by them. And
T.Y. Hilton was out. And
once they benched him, you knew they didn't give a crap about the game. But there's a couple of those this week. So
here's what I'm worried about right before we get into this. There's always a few teams like we want to talk. Maybe we even discussed it on the podcast. We want to bet against in round one. And like, the Colts now, it's no secret now. They obviously they can't run the ball. Their defense is shoddy when they can't pressure the quarterback. And Arizona with the first round matchup, Arizona against the NFC South division winner. Yeah, that's not a gimme all of a sudden,
The Colts got killed by the Steelers. They got killed by the Pats, and they got killed by the Cowboys.
Right.
And in week one against the Broncos, they were getting killed for most of that game, and they rallied back to make it respectable. Yeah. The Falcons are interesting. Now,
they've been playing much better, and you talk about big play guys. Like Julio Jones will go up for passes 6 feet over his head and come down with them. Like Matt Ryan's doing well with that team.
They're 6-9. Mm-hmm. They swooned in the first 6 weeks. They had a 4-game losing streak. Or a 5-game losing streak, sorry, but they should have won the Lions game in week 8.
Yeah.
They had a bye in week 9, and since then they've played pretty well. They've only played one bad game, which was week 15. They lost to the Steelers at home, and they only lost by 7. But
that was closer for a while. That wasn't that bad. Yeah.
But they're kind of hanging around. They beat the Cards. They fought the Packers pretty hard. Won in Carolina. They might not be that. I don't know. Like I felt like the Saints were a bad team. And I felt like the Panthers, I still think is not a good team. I think the Falcons are the best team in that division.
I would say that. What odds would you have put on the game? I guess there would have been in-game running lines. The Saints run back a kickoff at home, the opening kickoff to the 1 yard line, scoring the very next play. Who's betting the Falcons at that point?
It did seem like. The guy got tackled on the one. It was 14:45 left in the first quarter. They're up 7-0. Yeah, it did have the makings.
Yeah, you have to give Atlanta a little credit. So let's start with that. Go ahead. Yeah.
Well, what do you got? Week 17.
Let's start with Carolina at Atlanta for the division title.
I thought Cam looked pretty good yesterday. Like he was moving around and doing some Cam stuff.
Yeah.
They were down. They were down 13-10 in that game. They weren't playing well.
Yeah.
And I know you were watching because you picked the Browns.
I know. I mean, it's nice to be able to take off on 3rd and 9 and convert a first down.
He's doing a couple of those Cam Newton things. And their defense was awful early in the season. Looks a little bit better. But I think this goes in the Vegas zone because that makes sense with everything else that's happened in the NFC South. I have the Falcons by 5.
All right, I said 4, and it's right now open at 3.5. It stays at 3.5 right now. So I get that
that's
one.
A mistake.
That's scary. You're going to get a lot of Falcon supporters there, I think. And why do we think they didn't make this the Sunday? This is the only loser leaves town match. They didn't make it they didn't flex it to Sunday night.
It's not a great game.
Terrible division, but yeah.
So since week 6. The Falcons have only scored more than 19 points twice. 21 points the Panthers.
Panthers, I must, yeah. Okay.
Week 10, they had 21 points in when they got their asses kicked by Philly.
Mm-hmm.
And then in week 14, they killed the Saints 41-10. Other than that, they've been 19 and under every single week since week 6.
Wait, what was that tie game against?
That was week 6, 37-37.
Okay, yeah, right.
So... And the way this Falcons team goes, they at least score. They have 87 points the last 3 weeks. Actually, no, they've basically averaging 30 points a game the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't the Panthers team we're used to, like the Luke Kuechly, that were first in the league defensive. I think they were like, as of last week, they were like 25th in the league against the pass and everything. So it's weird how they're getting it done. But don't be surprised if they're playing the week after next.
The other thing I'm worried about this week,
Yeah.
Week 16 was super easy for gambling.
Yeah, I know it. I was worried about that.
We were texting last night. It was like, oh, I'm gonna parlay and tease the Seahawks and Jets and Pats with everyone in the league. And the Pats made it a little scary, but they still covered any 10-point teaser.
Yeah, you couldn't lose on a teaser yesterday.
Yeah,
Pats were close.
Lions, anybody.
Lions were losing close. Yeah, everybody.
And then it's like, maybe the Cardinals will screw this up. Now they get killed.
No, I know, you're right. We're in for the boom. All right, Dallas at Washington. There's not really a line on this. It's funny. I said there was no line on it last week, and I was like, I don't know why. And then 3 minutes after our podcast hits, DeMarco Murray is having surgery on his hand. Didn't end up mattering towards the game, but no line on this. But you want to?
This is weird. So the only thing at stake here is Dallas could get the first seed if Seattle loses.
Yeah,
so
sit everybody.
Not Trey. That's what you'd think, right? Why not sit everyone?
Well, you talk to Cowboys fans, and they're so excited. Oh, it's Week 17. The Redskins can't screw us. How did this happen? Yeah, they can. They can screw us. They already knocked out Romo one game this year. That'll be it. That'll be how they do it. So I would sit everyone.
I have no idea what this line is, but I'm going to say Cowboys by 4.5. Well,
we won't count this. I said 7, and an opening line was 7, but there's no line on it right now. So let's just not even count it. I don't think they play anybody.
They'd be dumb to. Just take your 3 seed.
Let this be our bye.
Get to play the Lions in round 1. The Lions are frauds. I don't believe in the Lions at all.
I can't even comment on that. Cleveland at Baltimore.
Cleveland at Baltimore. I can't find my pick for this. Oh, there you go. I have the Ravens by 7.5.
All right, you get it. I said 7, and it's 8.5. Opened at 7, went up to 8.5.
Ravens are good at home.
And they are good at home. Well, they struggle against Jacksonville, but they do take care of business at home. 5 and 6 in the AFC, and that's what's going to be lead to their demise right there.
I'm trying to think if the Ravens. Oh, they've lost one home game to the Chargers. It's too bad the Browns never got Josh Gordon back this whole season. I think if he had come back after Week 10, I think they would have been really interesting.
I don't know what it is with that guy. I don't know what happened.
He doesn't even look like Josh Gordon. It's like he's been replaced.
Yeah.
It's like when they replaced the Ultimate Warrior with the guy who looked like the Ultimate Warrior.
That team could be good. Yeah, you're right. That team could be good. I mean, if they had like Kyle Orton at quarterback these last few games, they'd be playing for a playoff spot possibly.
If I was a Browns fan, all I would be thinking about 24/7 is that we could have traded down and picked Odell Beckham at number 9.
Yeah.
And gotten Buffalo's first-round pick. I'd be thinking about that all the time.
I mean, there's a ton of by far the best receiving class, right? With Beckham.
Oh, yeah.
Evans is another one. He's a monster. I watched that Tampa Bay game. I mean, they throw to him every time on 3rd and long. It's almost a guarantee that he's in the area or gets a flag call. But Beckham, Evans, obviously Kelvin Benjamin. Browns have a good guy in Gabriel. There's Moncrief on the Colts. There's a bunch of good rookies.
Oh, they're all over that. I like Jarvis Landry too.
Yeah, Jarvis Landry, of course. Yeah, I missed that.
Yeah. I was thinking people are saying it's the best draft for receivers, but the '96 draft was pretty incredible.
Who was it?
Keyshawn was the number 1 pick.
Right.
Terry Glenn, Marvin Harrison, Eric Moulds, Eddie Kennison, Amani Toomer, Hussein Muhammad, Terrell Owens.
Oh yeah, that's ridiculous.
Bobby Engram. It's the 90. Joe Horn. 96 was incredible.
You're right. That's the year.
But but you have Terrell Owens, Marvin Harrison, and Keyshawn.
Yeah.
Going against Mike Evans, Odell Beckham, and Sammy Watkins.
It's pretty good.
Basically.
It's pretty good. Chicago, Minnesota.
Beckham's my favorite now out of the 3. I used to like Sammy Watkins most, but Beckham's
it doesn't
incredible.
seem like you could cover him. That's just the thing. I don't know. It's not like oversized like these other guys, but he just gets open, and when he doesn't, he makes sure he gets open.
Well, for you, it's like, all right, now you have him 2 times a year for the next 12 years of your life. He's just like, screw it. This guy's in my life now.
Yeah.
And not in a good way. In a way that I'm going to be unhappy multiple times.
Not fun. Not fun.
So what do you got now?
We have Chicago at Minnesota.
So the Ravens line was 8. Okay. Chicago at Minnesota. There is absolutely nothing at stake in this game.
No. It's weird, huh?
I have the Vikings by 5.5.
I said 5, and it's actually 7. So you're going to get that one.
Okay.
And Bridgewater, best rookie quarterback, I think, right, this year? Over Bortles.
Yeah,
Definitely over Manziel.
Hard to believe. He did it in college, had one bad pro day, and he had to drop around for some reason.
I know. They're good. We talked about him last week with Peterson, what might have been. But
I got to say, Asiata is not terrible.
No, I know.
Am I nuts to think he's not good? Like, if he's a free agent, I would try to sign him.
Good goal line back. He gets the tough yards. Someone wrote, we might see David Fales for Chicago this week at quarterback, but someone wrote that if you bet the over on the good teams for season wins, only San Francisco, New Orleans, and Chicago beat you. If you consider Chicago a good, one of the good teams. You would have won on every other good team betting over.
We won on the San Diego over.
That was nice.
That we did thanks to the miracle comeback, which I stopped watching.
Those were great games. I think that's the secret. The Saturday games, not the Thursday games.
Oh,
for some reason, they're very competitive.
I love the Saturday. I love the Week 16 Saturdays.
No Saturday this week. I don't know. I guess I have to allow for some bowl games, but what was he, like 11 early games there? 6, 9.
I think that's a terrible job on that.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
I would add a Friday game, a Saturday game, and yeah.
Yeah, 12 early games. It's crazy. Jacksonville at Houston.
And they haven't figured out yet the beauty of like staggering games so we can enjoy them for a longer tail. Like that one London game was awesome. That Lions-Falcons game that started at 6:30 in the morning West Coast time. That was my favorite Sunday of the year.
And it got good ratings, right?
Yeah, more of those.
I don't know what they're worried about. Yeah.
What do you got next?
It's Jacksonville at Houston.
Oh, yeah. All right, so Houston gets the 6th seed. If Baltimore loses and San Diego loses...
Mm-hmm. And they win. Right.
That's not ridiculous.
It could happen. Let's see what would the odds be if you took a Cleveland, Kansas City parlay.
You'd have to do Browns money line, which would be like plus 350. You'd have to do KC, which would be like plus 150, and then I have the Texans by 11. By the way,
I said 10, and it's 9.5. So, good comeback by the Texans. Some of these teams made good comebacks this year.
If you were Indy, oh no, if you were Pittsburgh's going to be the 3 seed. Let's say Pittsburgh's the 3 seed, and you're them. Would you rather play Houston, San Diego, or Baltimore?
If you're Pittsburgh. Well, not San Diego. I wouldn't want to go against it. I think Houston. Are we talking Case Keenum? Who are we talking about? On the road in the playoff game? You have to say Houston.
Well, really, Houston would all they would do is just hand off and try to let their defense win the game.
Right. Yeah. I just, Flacco's won road playoff games, obviously, and so is Rivers.
I think he's hurt. I'm a believer that Joe Flacco is hurt seriously. Like, he was beyond bad last year. He played like somebody who was hurt. Mm-hmm. So
they're not running the ball as well either. Justin Forsett was dynamite. Now it's they have offensive line trouble. They had two guys go out. Yeah.
And their secondary is awful. I think that Browns, that's an interesting game, that Browns game. Mm-hmm. I think that's a losable game for them. So Jags, and the Jags, I think they're honing in on like the 3rd pick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they want to stay in contention for those top 3 picks. You know what's weird about this? Like, you don't see tanking. At least I can't see it. It's funny. You and Jalen, you talk about tanking in basketball. You devote like 5 minutes to it on the show, and rightfully so. But it's kind of crazy. It's 2 months before the All-Star break. But in football, you don't see it. But Houston would be much better off tanking this game when you have a bunch of. I know they could still possibly make the playoffs, but like an 8-7 team, for example. When it comes down to the draft in April and you're looking at the 19th pick and you want to move up to 14, you have to give up a 2nd round pick. And half these guys are probably saying, oh, man, what if we just lost that last game? Why do we have to give up a 2016 second rounder to move up 4 or 5 spots where we should be anyway? So it's strange. I don't know.
Yeah. See, if I'm Houston, I really feel like I have a chance
to make it.
I think KC can beat San Diego, and who the hell knows with that Browns game? I'm going into that Jags game thinking I can make the playoffs.
Yeah, Houston, that was a bad example by me, but KC, a team who can't make it.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you on what you were saying, though.
Yeah.
I agree with you. You look at like the Bucks are playing the Saints. The Bucks should be starting who's their coach now? They should be starting Lovie Smith's son at quarterback.
Yeah, definitely. All right, Detroit at Green Bay is a big one.
It's a big one, but I'm not that excited about it.
Well, yeah, because they're both.
I don't see. I just the Lions just don't look good.
Mm-hmm.
I don't. They just don't have a playoff look to them. I had the Packers by 7.5.
7.5 is right. That's exactly what I had. So who are we teasing them with? That's the question.
God.
22. What is it? 22 game losing streak in Lambeau. Mike Tomczak was a quarterback last time they won there in 91 for Green Bay.
I mean the Bears were like beating them yesterday. It was 14-10 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, Jimmy Clausen was just floating passes to Forte. Yeah.
Chicago's defensive line was like making things happen
on a short week. Yeah,
and I don't think you can't really overstate how bad the Bears defense is.
Right.
That's the thing. Like if I'm a Lions fan, I'm freaking out after that game.
I was surprised. I thought they quit on Trestman. I thought, new quarterback, they quit on the coach. I said, short week. That's not going to be a close game. And then they needed a lot to happen in the fourth quarter to win Detroit.
The Bears gave up 106 points in back-to-back games in Week 8 and Week 10.
Yeah.
I mean, to barely beat them in a must-win game is a little crazy.
It's weird. San Diego at Kansas City.
Yeah.
Chargers win if they're in if they win.
Boy, they're like a hospital ward, that Chargers team.
Oh yeah.
They lost another center. Mm-hmm. Melvin Ingram got hurt in that game. Like Rivers is hurt. Ryan Matthews is out.
I can't believe they came back either for that win. That was something.
I have the Chiefs by 3.
I said 3 also. 2.5. They're not giving it the full 3 there.
So KC can actually get the 6th seed if Baltimore and Houston lose.
Right. They have to win. Baltimore and Houston have to lose.
I think Houston losing to Jacksonville is impossible.
Right.
But then again, Case Keenum is going to be the QB.
Mm-hmm.
Weird end of the Chiefs season. They lost 4 of their last 5. They lost to the Raiders, the Broncos. They lost to the Cards. They beat the Raiders. They lost to the Steelers. So
they looked really good. And Alex Smith, he tried so hard to get Dwayne Bowe or any receiver a touchdown pass, and just didn't happen yesterday.
If you can't throw the ball in 2014, it's hard to take you seriously.
No.
With all the rules to everybody's advantage.
Yeah. Yeah, it's bad. And Jamal Charles was shut down. Well, that Steelers team is good. They're good. They make you look bad, and
yeah,
they're going to be trouble in January.
I agree.
Jets at Miami.
I'm trying to think what my best case scenario for Pittsburgh is.
For your Patriots or for Pittsburgh?
Yes, for the Pats. The Pats
to avoid them.
Pats won't. Well, they won't see them until the AFC title game if Pittsburgh wins the division.
If they're the 4, yeah, I can't. I don't know why I kept thinking they're the 4 seed, but they're the 3. Yeah.
If Pittsburgh's a 5 or a 6 seed, then we probably see them in round 2, which is what I do not want.
Right.
I'd much rather see them win the division. Nothing would make me happier than Andy Dalton coming to Foxborough.
So if the Colts are playing the Chargers, you as a Patriots fan are rooting for the Colts, right? You have to be.
I mean, the Chargers would be the ideal team to play. That team coming into New England with how banged up they are, and we already beat the hell out of it anyway.
Yeah.
I would say that would be my ideal scenario.
Yeah. Rivers won in Cincinnati last year, and they were close with Denver, right? And
I'm happy to bring Phil Rivers on in round 2 in Foxborough.
All right. Jets at Miami.
I might go back for one of these playoff games.
Really?
Yeah. Getting a little nostalgic about the end of the Brady Belichick era. I might have to go back for one of these.
I'm looking at Dallas, New England at plus 850 for a Super Bowl matchup.
Oh my God, we can't sit together if that happens.
We have to watch closed circuit television. We can't even be in the same arena, I don't Jets at Miami, rematch of the Monday night game a few weeks ago.
Nothing at stake here other than if Joe Philbin comes back or not.
Well, they announced that he would, right? Didn't the owner go into the locker room yesterday?
That owner's lied before.
That would be something.
That owner, he did it the other. He said that, what was it? Sperano was coming back, but then it came out he was interviewing other coaches.
Right? Yeah.
I don't trust that guy.
Christmas week, he tells a lie that he doesn't even need to. He puts it out there.
Why say anything? Really? I mean,
right.
Just like, hey, we're going to make a decision after the year.
Mm-hmm.
I have Dolphins by 6.5.
That's what I said, and it's only 5.
Yeah.
So, that's a tough one. Do you know that was the first safety to take the lead inside a minute in the fourth quarter ever? In that Dolphins-Vikings game?
That was a fun game.
That was good.
I might have a little action on the Vikings, so I was paying attention.
I didn't want to watch it, but it kept floating up there. Buffalo at New England.
Yeah, Buffalo at New England. I think we're favored by 9.5.
All right, I said 10, and I got it exactly. It was opened up at 7, so I don't know why they figured maybe someone wasn't playing or something, but up to 10 now.
Turns out you're not a playoff team if Kyle Orton's your quarterback.
Yeah.
Which I didn't know until this year. Oh, wait, I knew that the whole time.
Not a good last drive there, or any drive there. That was bad. Raiders are frisky, though, huh? They win a couple of good home games.
Not bad.
And I think Derek Carr, what did they say, he had 20 touchdowns or something?
I thought you were going to pick them for SportsCenter.
The Raiders?
I felt very Sal-esque.
I know. I jumped on them too many times, though, this year. I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, I was excited to pick the Raiders in that game because 7 points for Kyle Orton on the road in a must-win just seemed a little high, a little ambitious. I think 3 points would have been the right line.
I agree. So maybe, are we looking at a 3-team teaser again now? Green Bay over Detroit, New England over Buffalo, and it might just be the same 3-team teaser we begged people to take last week: Green Bay, New England, and Seattle.
Why does that Packer game look too easy?
The Packers?
Yeah.
I just think if you lose, you're like, all right, well, I blew it. I'm on the wrong side of history here. 22 straight. You know, why I deserve it.
I've got to throw Houston in that 3-team tease.
Really?
Even though it breaks my rule to never put a bad QB in a 3-team tease, I feel like they just hand the ball off the entire game and win by 10.
Yeah, they should do it.
Why would the Jags try to win that game?
Only if they find out we have a 3-team teaser with the Texans.
Okay, you're right.
No
we're not doing that. I can't put Case Keenum in a 3-team tease. I can't recommend that.
Philly at New York Giants. Giants have won 3 in a row. Philly's lost 3 in a row.
This is great for you. Tom Coughlin might come back now. You want this?
I love it. Yeah.
Giants, I think, are favored by 1 over the Eagles.
I said 2.5, and it's 3. 6-9 Giants favored over 9-6 Eagles by 3. So I get that.
Sanchez is not good at quarterback, and the Eagles have the worst set of cornerbacks we've seen in a while.
Really bad.
Really bad. They're not that good at football.
But
the Eagles fans were mad at me all year. They were like, "Why aren't you writing about the team more?" And it's like in my picks column, and I wasn't writing about them because I had no feel whatsoever for them. It was by far the strangest 2014 team. How would you even describe that Eagles team?
I don't know either, but I think Chip Kelly should not get a pass here either. This is I think like Belichick's one of the few, not to kiss your ass, but who could carry the genius label, and we can make fun of it a little, but otherwise, you don't want to be labeled a genius as a coach, especially like in your first year, second year. That's like on Survivor when they say, all right, who's the leader of this tribe? Like, whoa, don't say I'm the leader because that means I'm going to get voted out. You know, this is a guy, here's a minute 30 left, minute 20 left. Let Washington score. You know what's going to happen. They're going to run it down to nothing. You had a timeout left even. Just let them score with a minute and 10 and a timeout. You're more likely to win the game, much more likely, I think, than if you let them run it to nothing and kick a field goal. I can't stand it anymore. It's just stupid, right?
The Buffalo coach, it's weird that coaches just miss basic stuff. Like the Buffalo coach did it again yesterday in that Raiders game. Like there was some punt from midfield. It was like 4th and 2. It's like, really?
I know.
When Darius went down, they from that point on, the Raiders were moving the ball.
Sure.
And if you can't get 4th and 2 against Oakland at midfield, you don't deserve to go to the playoffs anyway.
No.
But
it's just the same. And like these I don't know. Just with the letting the team score. I know it's a popular Sega move for us, Sega Genesis, but just do it. And it's like, how many times have you seen a missed snap, a bad snap on a field goal? Like, how many times have you seen a team just run it down to 3 seconds and then kick a good field goal, which amounts to an extra point? Come on. Anyway,
well, what was the Chiefs Steelers game yesterday? It was 20-9.
Yeah,
and I'm looking.
Oh, they almost weren't going to go for a field goal. They went on 4th down, right? And then didn't go on
4
4
minutes
down.
left, and they had like the longest ever.
Yeah.
Drill, and it was like it was just typical Andy Reid.
Right.
By the time it was over, they were down 8 with like a minute and a half left.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was hilarious.
Exactly. You don't want to be.
Yeah.
What do we? I don't even know where we are now. Oh, New Orleans at Tampa Bay.
Oh. Is Drew Brees done as a franchise guy?
Oh man, no confidence in him. He drops back to pass.
His stats are great though.
I know.
But it just seems like in the last 4 minutes of these games, his decisions are awful. I have the Saints by 5.5.
All right, you edge me out here. I said 6, and it's only 3.5.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Tampa wins the number 1 pick if they lose this game.
Yeah, I know. Why is this so low?
If they freaking lose this game, and you're a Bucs fan, there should be rioting in the streets of Tampa if they win this game.
Right.
Just throw this game away. You get Marcus Mariota. He might be the best quarterback since Luck.
They
come into the draft. Like, how do you even think about winning this game?
But do we take the Saints on a 2-team teaser? Why would they win
just
either?
Bet the Saints. You just bet the Saints money line. Do something.
Yeah, maybe that's the way to go. Tampa did it right yesterday. They had like punt, field goal, punt, all the way the first 13 possessions.
I think we bet this game today because I think that line goes up to 6 or 7.
All right.
If I own Tampa, I go into the locker room on Friday. I'm like, look, I want you guys to know something. If we win this game, I'm firing everybody. Every single person is getting fired. So just you guys keep that in mind. You do what you want to do on Sunday, but I'll fire all of you.
By the way, how long before a video like that comes out? Maybe either in the NBA or NFL or an owner thinks he's doing this behind closed doors, but there's some idiot player's nephew happens to be in the locker room and he's videotaping it. I can see it.
Would you even get in trouble though?
Yeah, I think you would. Yeah. People betting on these games, you can't just say you're going to lose them.
People bet on every game though.
Here's another one. Indianapolis at Tennessee. Another home team has no business winning.
Well, and if Tennessee loses, they get the number 2 pick. So the move would be to tease the Saints and the Colts.
Right. Oh, that'd be fun. Let's just do that. And
then Jameis goes to the Titans if that happens.
Crazy if you take that guy. Crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. But Andrew the Giant Luck, you care to comment on your manager, Bobby the Brain Heenan, benching you in the third quarter yesterday, now possibly playing very little in a meaningless game at the Thompson Bowling Arena in Tennessee versus the Titans? Your thoughts?
We're not playing well. I mean, it's no secret we are not playing well, and we would love to get some momentum getting into the playoffs. Why don't you, since I'm here, why don't you interview Macho Man Tommy Savage from the Texans?
Oh, Macho Man Tommy Savage, you have come up. You did not play this week, but certainly making some noise in Houston. Your thoughts?
I can't do a Randy Savage
impersonation.
You might have to do that one.
For that.
No, can you do Macho Man Tommy Savage?
Oh, yeah. I look down all those receivers. I don't check down at all. I throw wherever I'm looking. A pick 6 may it be. Oh, yeah. I don't know.
Case Keenum's looking at me. He's got jealous eyes. Yeah, Macho Man Tommy Savage needs to be involved in Week 17.
All right. We'll get him in there. What'd you have for this line?
Colts Titans. I have the Colts favored by 4.5.
All right, I said 5.5, and it's 6, so I get this.
It's Week 17 when every other guest is in the Vegas zone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, why would Luck play this game though? Really?
He shouldn't. When was Matt Hasselbeck on the Colts? When did that happen? I thought I listened to a game this year where he announced.
Right. Yeah, I think.
Am I crazy to hallucinate that? I could have sworn I heard him as an announcer this year. He came in yesterday.
That's Mac Hasselbeck. Yeah, that's someone else.
Is there a third Hasselbeck?
There's so many Hasselbecks. It's weird.
That's Jack Hasselbeck.
It's the chick from The View. Wasn't that her? That was her in the past. All right, now we got to the late afternoon game, St. Louis at Seattle.
Boy, it's hard to it's Sean Hill against the way the Seattle defense is playing, and they're actually playing for something. I had 11.5 for the Seahawks.
I said 11. You're going to get this. It's 13. It was 10. Opened at 10. Went to 13.
Okay.
Let me count these. 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, it's 8-7 me going into the last three. Yeah, I had 33 points in 5 weeks that Seattle defense has given up. And they already lost to St. Louis, so this is a win. Oakland at Denver.
Wow, Broncos by 13.
All right, you're going to get this. I said 14, and I said 12.5, and it's 14.5.
Okay, here's the scenario for you, my friend.
Yeah.
Pats beat Bills at 1 o'clock. Broncos now locked into the 2 seed. Why the hell would they play anyone in this game?
So we grab the 2+ touchdowns right now and just hope for what's likely going to happen. Patriots.
Why would Manning play 1 minute of this game?
No, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. But what do you have to make that the line, right?
You have to, I guess. But wouldn't it make the most sense to do Pats money line with Raiders plus 14.5 parlay?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Right. Yeah. Pat's money line doesn't get us much, but yes.
No, but I mean, you're betting the Raiders partly because you think the Pats are going to win that game. So
all right, I'm writing that down. That's good thinking. That's good forward thinking. I like that.
The only thing I've heard, people have made the case that you don't want to rest people in week 17 if you have a bye week.
If you have a bye already.
Because then it's like too much time where you haven't played. It would seem like I'd rather have the time off for my body, especially if I've had 4 neck surgeries and I'm throwing noodle passes left and right. Yeah,
it's a scary game, 41-7. So who would Denver play? Let's say if they're a 2 seed, they're more likely going to play in the second round.
Well, this is my all-time best case scenario. I need Pittsburgh to win the AFC North.
Right.
I need Pittsburgh to go into Denver in round 2. That's what I want. That's what that's what I asked for Christmas.
Right.
Pittsburgh at Denver.
Roethlisberger went into Indy when Manning was quarterback and won there, right? He's beaten them before.
My other favorite scenario is Macho Man Tommy Savage against Andrew the Giant. We'll have to really script out a whole podcast conversation for that one between those two.
That would be crazy. I'm going to get going on that right after this. All right, we're tied going into the last 2. I think you're going to kill me in this next pick because I was way off. Arizona at San Francisco.
Oh, God.
And the game, again, Seattle has to lose. They're playing at the same time for Arizona win to mean anything.
I have the Niners by 3 because Arizona has nothing to play for.
Yeah, that's, I guess. I overshot this. I thought it was a pick because San Francisco, I don't know how they lost the game they lost last week. 4.5 San Francisco.
4.5.
Yeah.
So I think the Cardinals have to play that Logan Thomas in this game. You have to see if that guy's competent or not, because we know if we have our answer in about Ryan Lindley. The verdict has come in from the jury. So play the other guy and see if it's any better. That you use this game to play the other guy.
Yeah.
And poor Larry Fitzgerald, by the way.
I know.
That's like they always show these, especially during the holidays, they show these sad TV segments, these really well-produced segments about somebody lost their dad or somebody's got cancer. They should be... Larry Fitzgerald should be one of those sad segments. He should just talk about all the quarterbacks he's had to play with for the last 7 years. Yeah. What's more tragic than Larry Fitzgerald's story?
Well, but it's going to end in a big contract, I think, right? Isn't everything saying he's going to get buku bucks?
Do you think he must really look forward to the Pro Bowl every year?
Yeah.
I'll go. You're going to have real quarterbacks in the Pro Bowl, right? I'm there.
Yeah. Can we do the Pro Bowl week 8 so I don't lose interest in the season? Please
send me away.
Right. Everyone's talking about their third string starting this week. Arizona has no choice but to start a third string quarterback and running back and everything.
And it's funny, like, we love making fun of bad quarterbacks, but, you know, like, it's not Ryan Lindley's fault that he's playing.
No, I know.
He's basically like, he's your worst case scenario.
Yeah, right.
And now he's playing, and he's on Sunday night going against this crazy Seattle defense. I felt bad for him.
Yeah, I know, and they can't get first downs running the ball. It's any big play.
They have no running backs.
Any 12-yard play against Seattle is like, oh my God, Kershaw gave up 3 runs in the first inning. What is it? You know, it's
I gotta say, I think Atlanta's favored over Arizona in round one.
I was just going to ask you that, and I know we're going to do this again next week, but I think it's a slight favorite. I think Atlanta's like a 1-point favorite over Arizona.
I think it'll be Atlanta by 3.
Wow. All right. Well, we're not locked in there.
No.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So all you need to do is hold on here for a tie against me, Week 17, Cincinnati at Pittsburgh, the Sunday night game.
Thing, if it's Cardinals at Carolina, round 1, I think that's the worst playoff game of all time.
Oh, that is bad.
That's when we should have the Shakey's Pizza Banquet.
Yeah. Well, for sure, that'll be it.
Game.
That'll be the Saturday early game. Yeah.
That might even be like the Saturday 6:30 in the morning game. They might just move that into the early morning.
Can they move that to London?
I have weird. The Steelers favored by 4 over the Bengals.
Jerk. I said 4 also, and it's 3.5, so you win the week. Bill Simmons is now, you're 10-6-1 on me this year. Thank God we don't play for him.
Romping you.
Yeah. I don't know about that, though. So you think, well, I guess a lot depends on tonight.
So here's the thing. There's been a lot made of how Andy Dalton is really good in the afternoon games, but in prime time he's awful. Yeah. So then they make it so basically Cincinnati has to win a primetime game to make the playoffs. Right. They either have to beat Denver tonight or they have to beat Pittsburgh a week from now. And both of those games will be primetime. Poor Andy. Yeah. All right, so before we go, can we talk about home win?
If Cincinnati loses tonight, so they'll truly need to win to make the playoffs. Because if they win tonight, they're in, right?
They have to win. Well, if
they win either of the last 2 games, they're in. So, and Pittsburgh's already in.
I think
just a playoff.
There might be a way they can make it if they lose both. But like everybody else has to lose.
Right.
Like
we said San Diego would have to lose and Baltimore would have to lose. But I think this line goes down to like 2.5 if Cincinnati loses tonight.
Right.
It's weird. Anyway,
the Steelers. This is God. If you're a Cincy fan, you got to be dying right now. Yeah. You'd be like, what the hell just happened? We have to beat the team that's always killed us, the team that knocked out Carson Palmer and ruined our lives last decade and just beats us all the time in general. Yeah. And then after that's looming, but right now we have to beat Peyton Manning in a primetime game when he's lights out in every primetime game. Well, they had terrible losses and they had a terrible, even more terrible tie. So that's why they're where they are. Well, that's the thing. Like it was a Mike Nugent 36-yard field goal, and and when it happened, we all said like, "Oh man, imagine if they missed the playoffs because he missed that game." And now it's sitting there. Oops, I swear. There you go. Hey, before we go, speaking of redheads. Homeland final. Did you watch it? D-. God. This happens a lot with series. Like the episode before maybe should have been the finale. And then they just really just tie up loose ends. It's just boring, the last episode. What the hell? There was nothing going on. We spent 5 weeks saying, this is great. Finally, Homeland has gotten away from Claire Danes and has gotten back to why we started watching the show in the first place. Terrorism. Right. This is awesome. Now this is like a smarter 24 type show. It's got action. It's everything I really wanted from this show. And then the last episode is like, hey, let's dive into Claire Danes' relationship with her mom who abandoned her. Yeah, and the father, the where's funeral. The terrorism? Yeah. Right. I mean, that guy died in real life, the father. So they have to devote a whole hour to it, like just his funeral, and everyone happens to be free for the funeral. The CIA guys, everybody's there. They were so close to her father. I don't get it.
I don't get it. Are they the Green Bay Packers? Is Homeland the Green Bay Packers struggled a lot out of the gate, and then Claire Danes said relax, and then they lit it on fire for a month, and now it's whoa, I don't know. She's got a sore hamstring. I don't know what we're gonna do here.
Oof. I think that's an insult to Green Bay. I think they're more can they be the Colts?
Yeah, maybe they're the Colts.
They're kind of the good bad team. They're the good bad show.
Yeah, that's the one.
It's a bad show that seems good because it's going against weak competition every week.
Right.
And then the affair.
So she makes out with Quinn at the end. I was like, oh my God. I said to my wife, I'm like, I cannot believe the twists and turns on this show. And she's like, my wife's like, oh, you knew that was going to happen. It's like, yeah, of course I knew that was going to happen. That's ridiculous.
Quinn's like, you're completely insane. You're the biggest lunatic I've ever met in my life, and you slept with a terrorist and a 17-year-old kid from what country was he from?
I don't know.
Whatever country he's from. Deflowered this poor kid. I
want to spend the rest of my life with you. Do you mind gaining 95 pounds? Because that's kind of what I'm used to from the beginning of the season.
I bought you some butter. Did you just eat butter? Can you eat these sticks of butter?
So stupid.
Yeah, it's been established Quinn likes overweight women, but now he likes Claire Danes, who hasn't eaten a meal in 4 years.
Yeah. No, it doesn't have a type, it turns out.
Yeah, I kind of wish I hadn't seen the Homeland season finale, and I didn't even know what the ending meant. What did the ending mean? Saul is at the guy's house, so what?
Say it to him yourself. Ooh, that's big.
Great. Somebody's car needed to blow up. I thought Quinn's car was going to blow up after they kissed.
I just don't understand. That probably should have happened. But the week before, she's got the bad guy in her sight. She's like, okay, first of all, the CIA, the leader of the CIA, whatever he is, the guy who gives out the package that you absolutely cannot give out to anybody. I don't want to step on Breaking Brad here because I know he's got a lot to say about this too. But so 20 ugly Americans get killed, and then they're about to kill this good-looking girl, and that's when the guy's like, no, let me out of this room. I can't take this. I'll give them whatever they want. So, all right, so he's done, and then why even bother with the charade of, Carrie, you're going home now. You're coming home with us. Go, oh, no, I'm staying. Of course that's what she's saying. All the time she's staying. You have 5 more days, and then she gets the bad guy in her sights on the street, and the other guy grabs her and says, no, look who's in the back seat. Like, who cares who's in the back seat? Just shoot him. It's not like there's a baby in the back seat. It's this guy. Right. You're not even aiming for the back seat. Just shoot the guy and be done with it.
Also, there was 5 million people there, and it was like a borderline riot scenario. Yeah. And it's a darkened sedan. It's like, hold on, wait. And it's like, oh, yeah, I have a great look at the back of this guy's head.
Yeah, she's going to be great.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. He is back there.
D-.
Yeah, that was ludicrous. Yeah, D-. The affair was fantastic, though.
Yep. Really good.
All
right, Jimmy Kimmel Live on a bye this week, let me just say. And my Sports Center picks Friday night. I've been moved to Friday night this week. I don't think there's been a documented TV personality that has done this well against the spread. 12-0-3 last 5 weeks, 16-2-3 the last 7 weeks. So it's all going to crash soon, I'm sure. But watch.
It's incredible. Congratulations to you.
Thanks, buddy. Good job by you.
Good job by you. See you next week.
All right.
All right, we're going to call my dad because a lot of stuff's happening in Boston. The Patriots are in rough shape. Rondo just got traded. Let's see what he's thinking.
Hello?
Dad.
Hi, Bill.
You're on the podcast.
Okay, I need to switch phones on the podcast.
Why do you need to switch phones?
I'm upstairs. The upstairs phone keeps dying on us. Hold on a second.
We might have to leave this part in the podcast.
Okay.
It's a very old man moment that you have to switch phones.
It is an old man moment, but it's probably has to do with the fact that we need to buy new phones.
Do you want me to buy you new phones for Christmas?
You haven't bought me a present for Christmas yet?
Well, I did buy you a present.
Oh, okay. Then you can buy me a phone.
I can buy you another present. Maybe for Valentine's Day I'll buy you new phones.
Yeah.
Can we talk now or no?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Are you concerned about the Patriots?
I'm more concerned about the article you sent me on Tyler Sagan. It bummed out my whole Sunday football day.
shouldn't have ruined it. I sent, for those of you listening, Tyler Sagan. The Bruins traded him 2 summers ago, and my dad was really upset about it with reason because you usually don't give up on talented people who are like 20 or 21, whatever.
20 or 21-year-old future superstars, you give up on them and get 3 dimes for $1. And the article talks about the fact that he might be the 3rd guy in the last 1,000 years to score 65 goals. Yeah, I'm a little upset about it.
He's blasted it to the best scorer in the league.
I mean, they made that trade. We had this conversation, and you know, I haven't been a huge Peter Chiarelli, whatever you pronounce his name.
Even though he won you a Stanley Cup,
he inherited a lot of that team. You know.
Okay.
And just like happens with other teams, the new guy comes in and inherits a lot of the building blocks that somebody else put together. And I haven't liked any of the moves since. I haven't liked any of the moves. I shouldn't say since. Anyway, we talking football?
Yeah.
You had to send me the article?
You know how my son and I have been playing a lot of the NHL video game? We hooked up an Xbox One. We've been playing the NHL video game, and we've been playing the Bruins, which he now has 2 NHL teams for some reason. But right. Because he loves the Kings, but he, for some reason, likes playing the Bruins in the video game. So I actually traded for Tyler Sagan. I traded Louis Eriksson and Riley Smith back to Dallas and got Tyler Sagan back and put him on the first line. And he's been unbelievable. So at least we have that going. So when you come out to visit, you can watch us play a game and relive the Tyler Sagan.
Yeah, that sounds like just torture on top of torture.
I'm a little worried about the Pats just because of the way we blocked yesterday.
Oh, I'm worried too.
We didn't block that whole game.
It was a terrible game. It was our offensive line just got eaten alive. And, they're reading the papers today in Boston. They're talking about how Dan Connolly was out. But Dan Connolly has been terrible. So to say that Dan Connolly being out is the difference, the left guard they put in there, it was kind of laughable. He was like the Matador swinging gate offensive lineman. And
I don't know if Marcel Darius is playing for Buffalo this week, but it'll be a nice test because
I don't think he is, from what they said, because Buffalo is now eliminated from the playoffs.
What was his? Oh, yeah, he had knee injury. Okay, so because that would have been a good test for this line because Buffalo's front 7 is just as good as the Jets' front 7, but now he's out. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of it.
I don't know
we
either.
We could block for 3 months, and now all of a sudden we can't block.
One of the writers, and I can't remember which one it was, had a pretty good article about the teams that we do play well against often have to do with a team whose defensive coordinator has a more passive approach to the game as opposed to the Harbaugh brothers or Ryan's approach.
Usually it's a team. Yeah, it's the teams that usually push up the middle and stack one of the 2 sides.
We get killed.
They overload. That's how they lost Super Bowl 42.
Exactly. It talked about Coughlin's approach that if you have the personnel, certain teams have copied that approach, and it continues to give us fits. And ironically, the place that seemed to be, I don't think any of those linemen played well, but the left guard position, Logan Menken's old position, certainly was coming back to haunt us yesterday.
Yeah, well, we
were so lucky to win that game on so many levels. We touched another attempted field goal, but we got a mysterious first down that when you watched on TV, we were 2 inches short. And they never quite explained that. The tip ball that fortunately our own wide receiver got instead of a Jet player.
Yep.
We're just lucky to walk out of there with a win, but
no Edelman hurt though. Not having Edelman was a big thing. He's
it was a big deal, but you know, at this stage of the game, on your 16th game or 17th game, you shouldn't be dependent on one guy being out. Don't you think?
Do you agree with me that the worst case scenario is somehow Pittsburgh coming to New England in round 2?
I don't know that. I have to be honest. I haven't watched them.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Well, yesterday it wasn't the game shown here, and I wasn't watching the Red Zone because I was watching the Patriot game. You know, I watched them earlier in the season, and it didn't strike me that their front seven was anywhere nearly as formidable as the Jets' front seven. But
right.
Are you saying that they're very good?
Well, they're a bad matchup for us because the one thing they suck at is you can throw deep on them, but we can't throw deep. They have a great running back. They have a quarterback who's been in a million big games, and they have receivers who make big plays. I think the Patriots are better, but that's the kind of team that can go into somewhere, wherever it is in round 2, you know, as 7-point underdogs or 8-point underdogs and win the game.
But, you know, I don't know how the lineup is. If next week, since he plays in Pittsburgh, and since he loses to Denver tonight, and then the AFC North title, well, that's still at stake anyway. But it doesn't. Yeah, even if since he loses tonight, they still will play Pittsburgh next week for the title.
We want Pittsburgh to win that game.
And if Pittsburgh wins that
Pittsburgh
game,
to go to Denver because they're a 3 seed, then they have to go to Denver.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to ask. Yeah, that's what we want.
That.
And I think it's most likely what's going to happen.
It's great.
Since his game tonight really has no impact on what's going to happen the following week against Pittsburgh. It has an impact on us because if they can beat Denver tonight, then we can rest our players next week.
Right.
Which would be great. We'd have certain players that, you know, I guess it's a plus and a minus, but at least they would have rested an injury for a whole 4-week period of time.
All right, we have plenty of time to talk about the Patriots. Let's talk about the Rondo trade.
Well, it's ironic because I don't know what day you called me. It was the day you called me before the trade was made.
Yeah, the day before. We talked about it.
And we didn't really know anything definitive about a trade happening that quickly or the team with whom it would happen.
Yeah.
So, we talked a lot about Rondo and what looked like the reality that not only were we not going to re-sign him, but he wanted to test the free agent market. So with all that in mind, I'm not sure there was much of a market for us to make a trade when we did.
I'm amazed they got as much as they did.
Yeah,
there was really no other team.
Yeah. Nobody... Apparently Houston was in on it for a little while, but...
I know all the offers. There was no real other offer. I think Dallas was worried there was another offer, but there really wasn't.
Okay. Then I think, there's certainly disappointment up here. I think people just are forgetting that the time to trade Rondo would have been, well, if he had not hurt the ACL, his market value would have been much higher, obviously.
It would have been last year.
Yes.
Yeah.
But you can't, nobody's going to trade for somebody unless they see that he's healthy again. So
I think one thing that you and I don't totally factor into this whole thing is like there's a whole generation of Celtics fans that Rondo is their guy. It was the generation after the Pierce fans. Like if you're now somewhere between the ages of like 13 and 24, Rondo's your guy if you grew up in Boston.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And it's reflected in when I go to the games.
The jerseys.
This year, the Rondo jersey by far has been the jersey you see on the younger fans most frequently. Yeah.
I watched the entire Dallas San Antonio game before we went to a Christmas party, and I 100% was rooting for him. I want him to do well. It was funny to watch him play hard again.
Right.
And I don't say that as an indictment of Rondo. I just think he's one of those guys that needs to have skin in the game, and he's not meant to be on a lottery team or a 500 team. He took 3 charges the other night.
Yeah.
We haven't seen him take a charge since 2012.
I saw you. I was laughing when I saw you tweeted that. And actually, I think we talked about it on the podcast last week.
See, he didn't play defense for 3 years. But I gotta say, like, sometimes there's good arguments in sports where you can, there's like the statistical side, and then there's like kind of the weird common sense, big picture, just having watched sports side.
Right.
And you and I watched a ton of that guy since 2006. He's going to be great on Dallas. And I don't care about like, him and Monte, that's a weird backcourt fit. They both need the ball, or, they're going to leave him alone in playoff games. Like, that's fine. He's not a great shooter. He's afraid to get fouled. Like, you can throw all that stuff on me. That guy's a great basketball player. And the better his teammates are, the better he's going to be. And if he's invested, Carlisle's a great coach. I think they're going to figure out how to use him. And it's just, he does too many things during a game that are just at the highest possible level. He'll get 15 rebounds in a game. He'll give you 7 baskets off great passes that you wouldn't have gotten. Like, he's just doing too many things. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I hope he does very well. I thought that, even though we talked last week that his game had changed and the injury made him so tentative, at least on our team, I always felt he gave 110%. It was just he was giving it differently.
Yeah, I agree. He was invested. He never mailed. Well, he mailed in a couple games, but everybody does.
Over 82 games, you're going to mail in a couple.
Yeah, I've gone to Chris Paul games where Chris Paul didn't give a crap.
The other thing is, you and I, because our seats are so close to the Celtic bench, I think we've both done the same thing over the years. We watch the huddle. We watch the players. Are they listening to the coach? Are they listening to each other? Are they looking up in the crowd and could care less what the planning is all about?
Yeah.
I watched him since he came back from the injury, totally invested.
Yeah.
I just, we're not the right team for him right now. He's going to be 29 years old. These are the peak 5 years of his life. It's not the time to be on a rebuilding team.
Well, and he also, because he didn't have that next contract coming, and he took a price that was too low with the last contract. His agent, I think, made a mistake on that one. Took 5 for $50, and he was headed for a max if he had just not done anything. And I don't think he wanted to get hurt again, so he played in a certain way. He played really hard, but he also wasn't like, I'm not going to go flying in on these drives and get hit by Tyson Chandler type of drives. Those kind of drives were not part of his repertoire this year.
They weren't. But, maybe I wasn't fair enough to him. When your team is winning 30 games a year, maybe you don't play that kind of game. But we did know the game. We hoped that game was still in him.
I don't think people realize it was just funny reading the articles. I get it. And there's real statistical cases to be made, but to me, this was not a statistical argument. Like, this guy, his hoops IQ is on the short list of hoops IQs right now. There's maybe 6 or 7 guys in the entire league who are as smart as him playing basketball. And to put him with Carlisle and Dirk Nowitzki and Chandler, who's also really, really smart, and just that style of a team, I think he's going to be excellent. I really do. I think he's going to be excellent.
I watched that first game also. Monta Ellis, I think, is going to be a terrific beneficiary of Rondo's unselfishness.
And the thing is, people are like, they're like, if Ellis has the ball, what's Rondo going to do? And we watched it on the Celtics teams because Pierce had the ball a lot in big moments, but Rondo floats around and does weird Rondo things and comes in and gets little weird offensive rebounds and comes behind somebody after they got a rebound and tips it away from them and makes little backdoor cuts. He's always up to stuff. I think he's going to be unbelievable in that respect.
Yeah. To be honest, I feel badly for Celtic fans and for myself as a Celtic fan going to the games.
Yeah.
We went through a rebuilding period all the way until 2007 when they made the Garnett trade. It's difficult. I mean, I know fans in other cities go through it all the time. I just think it's tough. And the one real star we had was Rondo, and as we talked about earlier, as reflected in all the T-shirts that the kids were wearing. And
well, now it's going to be if Marcus can get healthy, I think a lot of the love and adoration will immediately shift to him because he's the way he plays.
It'll take a while.
Yeah, but he's just so likable, though. Like, he plays so hard, and he's so competitive. I think that's going to win people over. I also think it's weird because we just praised Rondo for 5 minutes. I think this team's going to be better off without him, with who they got. Brandon Wright's going to really help them. He's going to play 25 minutes a game, and they'll be above average minutes from somebody who can, play both ends a little bit. Well, and then
maybe
that Jay Crowder is a good defensive player. That was a sneaky guy to get in that trade. I feel like they could definitely flip Brandon Wright. They could definitely flip Jay Crowder in trades if they wanted to before the deadline. They got a first-round pick. Nobody else was even offering one. And they got that giant trade exception. It's like $12.9 million that they get for a year.
Trade exception may be the most important part of that trade, actually.
Yeah.
Because their desire to make that trade before December 20th or on or before December 20th so that they can still make a move at the trade deadline with a Brandon Wright or a Jeff Green now or a Brendan Bass. They have a lot of tradable commodities, but there's some point of no return here. You keep getting these draft picks, and this Dallas pick, we're probably going to get it in 2016. It's probably going to be in the 20s.
Yep.
That's really not how you rebuild your team. Well,
I don't think they're thinking that way. I think
they're going to package them.
Well, I think Danny's just about assets. He's just about, I have this asset and I have to do something with it. How do I get better assets back for it? So with Rondo, he's like, all right, now I got a first-round pick. I'm going to be able to either Brandon Wright's an asset in himself, or I'll be able to flip him for something because every playoff contender could use that guy. Even Crowder's kind of an asset. I have all these other picks. So I'm just kind of sitting there in case the next James Harden trade is out. Or if, Cleveland decides Kyrie Irving and LeBron James can't play together. Like, whatever scenario is, I have the most assets now. And I think that's how I was thinking. See, your dogs agree.
My dogs agree. Yeah. Hold on a minute.
Wait, you can't go answer the phone door when we're doing a podcast.
I'm sorry, I have a package. Thank you.
You're signing for a package during the podcast?
This is real time.
Yeah, sorry.
This is holiday season with pack. Hopefully it's a present from you.
So, I got you a present. So,
okay.
The funny thing about this Rondo trade is that we're in the playoffs right now if the season ended today.
Yeah.
We're not. We're a half game out.
We're not because we lost we lost yesterday.
But we're probably a playoff team.
And we didn't look good yesterday, by the way.
Well, Smart's not healthy.
Well, that's the problem. You and I talked about it. I think privately.
Don't talk about. No, don't do it. Don't do it.
I hate
don't go there.
Leg injuries on young players. They worry me.
But he just sprained his ankle. He's going to be fine.
Well, sprained his ankle, and then the next injury was he sprained his Achilles. And rest the guy. We're not going anywhere. Rest him for a month.
Well, I agree with.
Yeah.
I think the problem is they can't keep him off the court. Like, they literally can't stop him from playing. Yeah, I think we're going to be a 7 seed or an 8 seed, depending on.
You do?
I do. I think unless they just go full scale tankaroo, but I think the teams, they have good players. Like,
well,
and I don't mean like really good, but like Olynyk's competent and Jeff Green's competent. They have Avery Bradley's competent. Like, you look down the line, they don't really have a lot of bad players who play in the top 9.
No, I agree with that, but they have to make a decision. Are they going to do something trade-wise with Jeff Green, with Brendan Bass, eventually with the player they just acquired? Because if they are, then they're not going to be a playoff team. Or are they going to keep these guys? All three, from my understanding, I read something in the paper I thought was inaccurate. I think Jeff Green has a player option for next year. Is that what you know?
I thought he was a contract next year.
Okay. The two Boston papers had conflicting reports on that. So, but I know Brendan Vass is a free agent, and Brendan, the guy they just acquired, is a free agent.
My friend Tom Haberstroh at ESPN.com had an article about this real plus-minus stat that ESPN's been messing around with. That is the closest we've come to figuring out the impact somebody has when they're on and off the court.
Right.
And there were a couple surprises of people who were better than you thought they'd be, and people that were worse. One of the people that were really bad compared to what you thought they were going to be was Jeff Green.
In terms of the impact when he's on the court, plus or minus?
Yeah, it was like when he's on the court, yeah, he scores, but he doesn't get it. He doesn't make anyone on the team better, basically. And he doesn't have when you think about it, like he is kind of one of those guys that either he's doing well or he's not helping anybody else, basically.
I'm not sure that so much. I mean, we talked about him last week on a team like the Celtics, where in crunch time, he's the number one scoring option. Yeah. And even during the game, they're looking for him, and you get the trick-or-treat nights, good games, bad games. On a contending team, and I think we mentioned Oklahoma City again, where he's the third or fourth option, he's a much better fit.
Yeah, I agree. There's teams that don't want him.
Yep.
Cleveland, I think he would help too.
But, we trade him, and suddenly our playoff opportunities probably aren't there anymore.
And Charlotte's kind of sitting there. Charlotte's at 8-19. We're 11-15. They're 8-19. So they're 4 games behind us, basically.
Is there anybody that you would really like to see them go after in a trade? That's a possibility with all our assets right now.
Eric Bledsoe.
Yeah.
And I think Ty Lawson's another one that would be interesting. Fareed. I'm just looking at guys that could become available for whatever reason.
Right.
Fareed, I think, would be cool. Other than that, Orlando has this guy, Tobias Harris, who I think is a restricted free agent this summer. I think he's really good.
Yeah,
that's somebody that, and he makes big shots at the end of games.
Somebody took him high in our fantasy league, and I kind of was paying attention to him. Yeah. And he's not getting the same kind of minutes. They have too many of the same people on that team.
They have too many of the same people. He's still averaging 18.6, 7.4 rebounds. And for whatever reason, they decided they didn't want to just knock out his contract. And I think that's somebody that I wouldn't be surprised if we made a major play for.
So what, he's going to be restricted?
He's restricted.
Okay.
But, that's where those picks come in handy, where you'd be like, you give somebody a big offer and then you give somebody a pick not to match it.
Well, especially a young team that, like the Celtics, is rebuilding.
Maybe we could use some of the picks to reacquire Tyler Sagan. Can you trade picks between sports? No.
I don't think so. No.
All right, Dad. Happy holidays.
All right, happy holidays.
I'm glad you took the Rondo trade. Okay, you're in good spirits about it. It makes me happy.
I took it fine, and I hope he does well. And
we're rooting for Rondo.
It's just kind of sad that he's not on a team anymore for the reasons that we've talked about.
All right.
Okay. All right. Take care.
Happy
Bye.
holidays. Talk to you later. All right. Last but not least, my daughter isn't here to sing her annual Christmas song. I think she's too old actually to do it. No, my son's just going to say happy holidays to everyone. Just say happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
All right. Not as good as the Christmas song. We're back in the BS Report next week. Have a great Christmas. Thanks to everyone for supporting the BS Report. And also subscribe to us on iTunes, because that helps us for just to know how many people are listening. Happy holidays. Talk to you in a week. The BS Report is out.
So I get to sign off. Whoa!
Thank you for downloading the BS Report with Bill Simmons.
Too much fun.
Check out more podcasts at the iTunes Music Store or at Pod Center at ESPNRadio.com.
Peace out.
Geico presents Strange Savings Stories.
Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.